voice is unique, even though it may be a small one. So I've been fluffed about a bit. Can I show you? This is what I did at 13. So taking the only thing I've got from when I was young. It's my grandpa, done in poster paint, and just doing it by instinct because I didn't know any other way to do it. So it was always there from a little one, like with most of us, but it was also set into the background, the creativity part of me, which was, yes, you can do it at school. Yes, you can do it to play, but it's not useful. It's not any good to anybody. And actually, it's a very selfish thing to do. I don't know whether that makes any sense to anybody else, but that was the background of how I was brought up. You know, it's self-absorption. It's not any good. It's not any use to people. And I think I really absorbed that to the hilt. So to say, yeah, I'm not useful, but I can't help doing it. So again, showing you bits and pieces. The way I work is sometimes it would be this, you know, I'd go and see a woodland and can you see that? Anybody? It's just a figurative picture of the wood and the way the light hit it. But another time it would be, I came home and it would be like this. So again, it's not having a consistent feeling that, well, you haven't got a consistent voice, you know, so why do it? And I've done lots of things, lots of different disciplines. I've gelatin prints, I've got a couple here, you know, this sort of thing. Anything that will make a mark, anything that will express something. Here's another one. I love doing these, but they're such hard work when you get old and ill. Can you see those sort of things? And I'll show you what, if I can take you and make you feel seasick, carry you around with me. Some time ago, I spent some time in a hermitage in Minnesota. I spent a week there. This is the painting that came out of it. If you can see, can I show, can you see it? Have I got it anywhere in the middle?
Yeah.
Are you seeing it? Well, when I was in that week I was in a deep forest in Minnesota. There were hermitage scattered around. It was April, bleak, still snow under some of the trees. All the colors were bone and ash, and I wanted to paint it very badly. And I came home, couldn't paint it. Every time I tried, no, I couldn't, I just couldn't get it. And then that's what came out. Yeah. So it's nothing to do with the actual landscape itself, what I was seeing with my eyes, but it's what happened while I was there. So that's, again, some of the way that I work. You know, sometimes it's figurative, sometimes it's going through the mill of being me and coming out totally different. I don't think, oops, I'm gone. Can you see that? No, you can't. I'll try and put that on top. This is can you see it at all?
Get a bit closer if you can.
It's a sort of sculptural piece. It's slate and bits and pieces from back home in Wales that have been assembled. Another time it'll be something like that, which is wood. So you get the picture. I'm somebody who dabs about, as I said. I'm somebody who dabs about. But, whoops, I've got.
Oops.
You're back.
Sorry, I'm back. You can see what I mean about self-sabotage. You've got the picture. No, but when I was growing up, I really badly wanted to keep painting in someone, but no, that wasn't the thing to do. I became ill. I was ill for 2 years. So then I couldn't do anything, flat on my back for 2 years. And came out of that, and despite everything, ended up earning my living with a brush because I worked in a department store doing all the backdrops, and there were no computers in those days. posters and display things for the store. But outside of that, I never allowed myself to paint or draw. So you see what an idiot you're looking at, because I felt it was a self-absorbed, it was a selfish thing. The thing I had to do was be useful to people and find a job that was useful and be useful. I know you're shaking your head, Brian, and you're so right to shake your head. But I was so conditioned. And then a couple of things jarred me, I think. I was always painting in my head. How would I paint that? How would I draw that? But never allowed myself much leeway to do it. And then I was doing little bits and pieces. And then my mother we were at my mother's bedside, my brother and I, and she was dying of cancer. And my brother reached into his briefcase. We were just sitting with her while he was doing some work, and he picked up a piece of paper, handed me a piece of paper and pencil and said, draw. And that was what made me realize I can't, that's me. Part of the caring for my mother was this drawing, so I was able to do drawings of her as she died. A very intimate thing, but it was what I needed to process what I was going through, because I have no other way of doing it but creatively, really. I ended up in a job, I was a counsellor, and I'd be with my clients, and this shows you how stupid I am. And I would be, this longing for colour would be, in me, even while I was working with people. And then I think it was my supervisor said to me one day, if you could give yourself a present, what would you give yourself? And I thought, oh, paints. I knew a seismic charge had gone off, something I needed. So at 50, I did my O-level in art. Well, I started to go to an evening class, which you could do then. And it was people painting, copying photographs, which, as I said, didn't scratch where I itched. And I ended up going into a life class and going, yes, this is what I want. So I did my O-level and my A-level and a HNC and things like that, life drawing and design and stuff. And then again, life overtook me and I had to push it to one side. And I'd begun to sort of sell and exhibit a bit. But my husband started his own business. So again, put it on the back burner. But what I know now and what I'd learned then was I couldn't live without doing it. And I think the thing like that Sitting Rooms has done has allowed people to realize that they can do it and they can put it out there and encourage people to be creative, because we need this way to process. I certainly do, and I think we all do in a way, need creativity to process our lives. So that's me, and really it's about the creative process more than it is about anything that I'd create, because who the hell am I? I'm a hole, you don't know me from a hole in the ground. But it is this case of we need this. And you're also brilliant because you already knew you needed it, and you were probably doing your stuff and living to the full. But this is why I'm so passionate about Sitting Rooms, and why I'm we need this stuff. We can't always use the cognitive. Yeah. Sorry, I've talked for so long.
Your sort of what you're describing is actually very similar to a lot of people, I think, and would resonate with a lot of people, in that I think with art and that sort of creative side of you, I think in society it's not necessarily I think no one, when I was younger, I think trying to make a career out of that or that being really championed, I don't think it really was. And I think that's a common theme, is that you sort of go off on your career and have kids or do whatever, and it's more of a hobby rather than something that you are really doing every day, and I think it's a big big thing with mental health and well-being, you know, that sort of human side. I think it's so important, and I think what you're saying will resonate with a lot of people.
I agree, and not even just art. I think generally this whole society makes us feel like we've got to do something productive with our time, and if you look back and you've not produced anything that's going to be of use in that day, then you feel guilty about it. And I think that's a real problem with mental health. And our art is, I'm not very arty. I like to make things, but you know, it really resonated with me because I've spent a lot of time feeling guilty about how I've used my time and whether it's been useful. And you know what I mean? And I think, you know, you're absolutely right. I know you kept referring to yourself as being stupid for not doing it, but not, you know, absolutely not. I think it's quite normal, and that's how a lot of us feel.
Well, I mean, certainly when I was brought up, I was born in 1941, and a woman's, you know, it really was a case then of, well, you know, why let her go to university or college, because she will only get married. And thank God, you know, that's changed. That, you know, it's been a huge paradigm shift there. But I think it is this thing about, you know, we're here for other people, first and foremost. Forgive me, gentlemen, but I think that's perhaps, you know, especially for women, even today, you know, and we can only be there for other people as much as we're there for ourselves. I think that's the thing. And I keep going back to Michaela, but it was, I'd been quite poorly, and seeing Michaela just doing stuff out the window, and I thought, well, I could at least do that, because I didn't have the energy to do anything else. So the how-to for me at a time when I, you know, because I'm very physical, if I paint, I'm up there at the canvas, checking myself out at the easel, you know, and finding out that, no, you've got to mitigate it back to what you can actually do. And at that, you know, for me, it was fiber tips on a pad, on your lap, then do that. And don't have such grandiose ideas, you know, that that's the only way you can create whatever way you can. And to the extent that I've got it's like a little hairdresser's wagon, you know, you can put all your stuff in it, and I've got that in the dining room, and I can use that anytime. I don't have to have a big studio. I don't have to, just bring it down to what we can do, but at least keep doing it. And you know,
I went to an exhibition in Leicester last year, and it was at the Attenborough Centre, and the guy there, the painter, was blind, and it showed paintings that stages through where he could see properly, and then it deteriorated, and finally where he was totally blind and still painting. So yeah. You're right to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I remember at the Pompidou Centre, and in those days it was done historically, so you went up floor by floor and got to the top, and Matisse was on the top floor, and his cutouts, and I just burst into tears. The thought that he was still creating, and still, you know, oh yes, you know, you got to keep doing it for as long as you can and how you can. So. Yeah.
I love the quote that you opened with, Hazel. Art is war. Can you just read the quote again to us?
Yes, isn't it lovely? Art is a war between ourselves and the force of self-sabotage that would stop us from doing our work. The artist is a warrior. And, you know, if we ever need warriors like that, we need them now, you know, because everything is so, we've been turned into machines if we're not careful. And, you know, don't cut back on the arts or in anything creative. You know, we keep saying it, whether it's gardening or baking, or we need the fullness of it. And when you get stuck mentally, as we often do, and we're depressed, or we have an unresolved thinking, this problem that won't go away, if you fall into your creative mode, and sometimes the solution comes because you switched off from this path that you're following, and it comes out of you, out of your spirit, out of your being, you know. there's something else going on. We're not just this apparatus. And that's again what I'm passionate about saying. And yeah, I talk.
I know what you mean in terms of Michaela. I was just looking earlier on at Michaela's 87th painting, and she's 13 days away from 100 paintings of the garden. I found at the start of lockdown that I would do certain things on a daily basis, and recently I've just felt a little off kilter. And I realised that one of the things that I do each day, I'd stopped doing for about 5 days. And so this morning I went back and did it. I look at historical facts on the day, and from a creative point, I just learn a little bit about them and then share it. And you talked about doing things for other people. And the interaction that I've had from other people this morning has been like, where have you been? Where have you been? We were all worried about you, you know. And it's lovely. It's lovely to. I can understand the repetitiveness of Michaela, but it's those little things. It's making sure we do those little things that just keep us on that positive, creative track. Well, and whatever that creativity may be, whether it be drawing, colouring, reading about history, whatever. It's. I think I really, when you were talking, I really could understand I could feel it. I could feel it. Just do your thing. Just do your thing.
Yeah, because we've all got this inner critic that tells us it isn't worth doing. And who wants to hear you anyway? Who wants to know that? They probably know that already. And all this stuff that talks you down. And we love your stuff. I love your stuff. You know, and I look forward to it because it's so, you know, it teaches us, and it's often got this whimsical humour as well, which is great. And the fact that you're so good at linking the past with the future and the present, you know, it's all there. You can see. I love it. So don't ever stop.
Thank you, Hazel. Thank you. I'll do it just for you.
Oh, good.
Whether anybody else reads it or not, I'll do it just for you.
Yeah. I think through City of Culture, I think I've learnt a lot as well about art and, you know, reading from Paul and all the amazing things people are doing, which we would never be able to see before. And I think it's wonderful. I know I can't paint or draw or anything like that, but I do a bit of like my gardening, or, you know, I dress with colours that I feel, you know, for the right day. Some days I think, oh no, you know, pastels or nude colours, I don't, and think, oh, it's in fashion, but when I put it on, it just feels like washed away. But there's, you know, so much that you can do with art in whatever way, like you said. And I wanted to go into fashion design, but my dad was like, oh, you know, your sister works in a factory, so, you know, I want you to be in the office. I think sometimes it gets imposed. I did do art as GCSE, but yeah, I've taken on from different aspects, like gardening I love, and flowers, and people are always saying, oh, you grow vegetables, and I think, no, I like flowers.
But that comes across in your photograph, Shada, because you can tell the love of your flowers comes through.
Yeah.
You know, the lovely, yeah, it's lovely. Don't stop that either.
Yeah. I think, oh, you know, I'm spending a lot of money on flowers, and sometimes you think, oh, I should have which grow every year, which I do, but I can't just resist when I see flowers. I could just buy loads, and I think, oh, I bought these, where do I put them now? But my son's got a house now, so I'm filling his. I'm helping him.
Well, you'll be the beneficiary of that then.
Yeah, I said that's my allotment now.
Oh.
Yeah, I like the work you're doing, Hazel. It's lovely, and I think it's encouraging to everybody else through this group.
Oh, thank you.
I loved those pen drawings that you did with, you know, like with the inspiration from Michaela's.
Yeah, the
you did a few of them. I think you did a couple of them, didn't you?
Yeah.
Which I really, really loved. And I kind of felt like so I'm not really a painter, but I think I could do stuff with pens, and I've just never really thought of trying to do like a proper nice picture with sort of fine liners or felt tip type pens, you know. And it really shocked me how much depth that you can get to your pictures with basically felt tips, really. Yeah, so I think they're amazing. I really, really like them.
I suppose that's the inner critic again, isn't it? You say, oh, that's, you know, some things like you think, oh, those are for kids or whatever, and then, you know, you don't. It's, yeah. I saw, I don't know whether you've seen it on Twitter, there was this artist, I think from Nigeria, who did these amazing lifelike portraits with biro.
Yeah.
It blue biro, like, you know, the
No, it was on the group.
yeah, they were absolutely. I mean, the only reason you could tell that they weren't photographs were basically because of that biro blue color, not because they were sort of, you know.
To be honest, it was the description for me, because I thought they'd like just printed them as a photo, like in a blue tone.
Yeah.
Like,
and they were also like really small on the screen, obviously, but they were like, then there was a picture of him actually drawing it, you know, that it was, the guy was actually standing in front, and it was like, wow, okay. Yeah, now I believe it was actually him drawing, but yeah, so and somebody commented in that thread, they said that when they were at school, their art teacher was telling them off for using the wrong kind of medium or something, like using basic ordinary pencils or whatever. Well, why are art teachers like that? You know, they should be. Sometimes my art teacher at school wasn't really very encouraging of me either. You know, she had some kind of quite fixed ideas about what she wanted people to do and who she likes, and you know, I didn't fit into her kind of idea of like what
a lot of the time they stop you from doodling as well, and you say, stop doodling, and from there, look how, you know, that's really gone big, doodling, and you know, Zentangle, and that's all the things that we used to do on pieces of paper.
And one thing she really was down on was anybody humming or singing or anything during and sometimes just people sing as part of their creative process. If they're not bothering anybody else, and why is it a problem? I mean, seriously.
But I think is this thing about right and wrong. There's a right and wrong, and I've got a great grandson, Zach, who's one of the lights of my life. And a while ago, my granddaughter lived in a house with a little front drive, and every time I went, I would sort of park a different way, nose in, nose out, turn around, you know. And he said to me, Dan, why don't you ever park the same way each time? He said, oh, I know, you're an artist, and artists don't, you know, they don't bother about right, they find their own right. Wow.
That's exactly right.
Why? Hazel.
But you know, out of the mouth of babes, you know, he just knows I'm an idiot, basically. But he lives with it, and it's that, isn't it? We're always beating ourselves. This is what I mean. Why do we beat ourselves? Because somebody beat us in the first place. And I think it's that, you know, where's that voice coming from? Who is it who's saying this? And
yeah, I mean that. What I have to say, I am a fan, Hazel, because I don't like Zoom, but I was prepared to come on Zoom because so I could meet you. But what I love the vibrancy and variety of your work. But also you've got such a generous spirit, and you know, I've just seen that, you know, a few of your responses, like really quirky, amusing responses, creative responses to things like, remember, I think it's Nicholas Stephen was my brother.
Nicholas Stephen Davis.
Nicholas Stephen Davis, yeah. Yeah, he did these stone, remember the stone archaeological big thing, and you just riffed on that. You just came up with a mad, wild story about it, and for other things as well. I have to say, you know, because I do have a weakness for wordplay, and it's just given me great entertainment. So I just have to thank you for your for all that kind of interaction that is very, very creative, and it just tickles people. Well, it definitely tickles me, and I've been very glad of it.
oh, bless you. I like yours too, Mary, by the way. I look at it and I think, oh, she's a slay puss, because you've got so many depths of meaning, and sometimes I have to read it once or twice and go, oh yeah. You know, yeah, I love words too. Well, you can tell. I don't stop talking.
Yeah.
But this is the joy of sitting rooms, isn't it? This is what I mean. You can riff off one another and catch hold of something. Go, oh yeah, I hadn't seen it that way, or it's brilliant. It's just brilliant, and it's certainly, it's certainly given me a new lease of life, because it's made me go, yeah, you can do it. Keep doing it. When you actually get on.
We've met so many nice, we feel like we've met them already, or the people that are in the sitting room group, and and it's lovely to put face to the photo, and it's nice seeing. And it'd be lovely to meet up one day.
Yeah, I think we need a physical space when lockdown's over.
Say again.
I think we need a physical space when lockdown is over. Where basically it's sitting rooms, but physically.
But Lady Godiva.
Yeah, just like a nice meeting space where we can all just be creative and.
That'd be lovely. Yeah, and like an exhibition, maybe, like a gallery.
Yeah, we definitely said we need like a post-lockdown exhibition with all the work that's been shared, and yeah, definitely, 100%. Be nice to have like a bit of a fringe festival with lots of different things.
Well,
what started it off in the first place, the sitting rooms?
One day I phoned Mary and said, should we meet up? I've just had an idea, and we basically both just said that both me and Mary have experienced our own like sort of issues with health, and have found our way through them with creativity. And so it is a passion of ours to cry, not only for ourselves, but to kind of spread this message of this is an amazing tool to help with mental health and well-being, and more, I think, for me especially, it was like a self-discovery thing, and I felt like I'd untapped this side of me that had been dormant for a long time, and to do that I'd had a lot of time off work, and I felt like lockdown was the perfect opportunity for everyone else to have that experience that I'd had, and so yeah, me and Mary just spoke about how we could kind of use the lockdown as a way of spreading this message and bringing people together with creativity and a way of dealing with the sort of the emotional side of lockdown with this. And so, yeah, that's how it started, really.
It was also kind of the back of our minds was this sort of gaping hole of realizing that there wasn't anywhere that you could actually show your creations unless you were a sort of professional artist, in an online space, and we would just think creativity is it's for everybody, it's a democratic thing, so we wanted somewhere that we could showcase the creativity of people in this city, and a place where people could be safe to show their vulnerable creative selves. So we're really keen to create a supportive sort of environment where it'd be okay for anybody to feel okay about sharing their stuff. So that was the kind of the basics of it, but obviously then it was important that we had the likes of Paul join us to do this, and Heather Davison as well. So we're just a little team kind of getting things going, but like with a huge big passion for the creatives and the creativity in the city and your whole Warwickshire area as well.
Right. I think with a team there, you've got a chance of sustaining this in the long term.
Yeah. We hope so. I think we both had spoken about this kind of thing before lockdown. I think we just felt like lockdown sort of helped get everyone together in a weird way. Even though we were separated, we were kind of all we were all joined by this one event. So yeah, I think it definitely has longevity after, and I think just seeing how this community has grown in such a short time and the sort of response to it, I think it seems like it was long overdue, to be honest. And I feel like everyone appreciates sort of the celebration of the local talent that we've got. And that's what it's about, you know, is sort of showing off like how amazing these creatives are, and yeah, like Mary said, that supportive sort of space for everyone to feel comfortable in sharing what they do.
My daughter, I don't know, Hina Taylor.
Oh,
yeah,
one of her prints.
Yeah, she's got an Etsy shop now, because people have been requesting all of her work, and she's just launched it last week on Sunday.
Yeah.
So she's like, I think there's loads of good things that have come out through this.
Yeah. One of her prints came yesterday, so I ordered one.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, and it is amazing. I absolutely love it, and it's so cute. She put in like a little freebie of like a one you can colour in yourself.
Oh.
Which was really nice. I thought that was a nice touch.
Yeah, because she started off by random act of kindness. Yeah, so she's been sending out cards to people.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Great.
And Shaylen, he does the octopus.
That octopus today.
Yeah.
I love that octopus today. I've just got to shut the door. Somebody's in front of the door.
Quite an arty family, them.
Yeah, because my other daughter, she does all the Zentangle and doodling and all of that. Christina Taylor.
Oh yeah, is she the one from choir?
Yes.
Do you know her? We've sang with me and Mary sing with her. Well, I'm not singing that choir anymore, but yeah.
I recognise Mary.
Yeah, small world.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
That is one thing that has come out of the City Rooms of Culture. Was when we started, we looked at the A to Z of art, and working with Warwickshire Open Studios. They gave us a sort of starter for 10, and then we just started looking out of it. But then when Z for Zentangle came on, I was so excited, and I was like, what is this? And I was looking into it, and I was like, we've got a Z. I was so happy. It's interesting that I'm just looking at the statistics for the group while we're on, and the top contributors in the last month. You've got Shada on and you've got Hazel on, and they're in the top 3 contributors in the last month. So it's interesting that we've got you both here. Has anyone got any questions that they'd like to ask Hazel?
Is there specific pens or felt tips that she uses? Because I really love the work, and you know, until I saw hers, I didn't think that with felt tips. Normally, you just colour in or whatever, and you think, you know. But the way she's used them, they're amazing. I'd like to see a couple of her pictures again if she's got it on display, or if we've got room.
I started out with just ordinary Sainsbury's because I just said to my daughter, get me some felt, fibre tip pens while you're out. But she also bought me, hang on, I'll get you the.
Nothing like a bit of brand promotion.
No, I don't know. Well, I don't know where she got it from. So sadly, she got them online. There's too many colours, to be quite honest. There's 80. I think there's 80.
Wow.
So there's a huge amount of colours.
Wow.
You see.
Oh, wow.
Loads of colours, yay.
They're quite thick. They're quite thick, or some are fine.
They've got 2 ends. A finer one.
Oh, yeah.
And a thicker one.
Oh, okay.
The only thing I would say about fibre pens, of course, they wear out very, very quickly. Because I scribble away like mad anyway. I always work fast, scribble like mad, and then you find that you've got a a dry fiber fiber tip that you're scribbling away. So they do wear out very fast. And I find with these, although the colours are gorgeous, they are a bit toxic when I'm using them. So other people might not notice it, but I know I can use them for a very short time because they make me breathless. So you do have to be careful about fiber tips, what you know, the sort that you buy. But they're so quick, they're so easy to pick up and use, and the colours so vibrant. So yeah, they're excellent. Really excellent.
Okay. Any other questions, anyone? I'd like to ask Hazel while we have her here. I'd like to ask you whereabouts in Wales you're from.
Where are you from? Pontypool. Do you know anything about rugby? We used to have a fantastic front row years ago.
Pontypool had a good front row. I've been to Tredegar. I've played at Tredegar.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, it's between Usk and Newport, that sort of area. Very beautiful, beautiful area.
Mary, I think you wanted to ask a question.
Yeah, it was a simple one, Hazel. Really, is have you got any long-term projects or anything that you're working on now?
Not really. I just really want to get back to painting again. So I've squared the studio out and I've got some room. I must buy some new paints because mine was so ancient. A lot of them are dried up, and really throw myself at. I don't know. I mean, I think it's landscape really, going back into looking at the earth. I love the earthy. I did about 12 months of looking at stuff, which was just the marks we leave on the earth, footprints, fag ends. You know, I mean, it's
footprints and fag ends would be a brilliant. Footprints and fag ends would be a brilliant title for something.
But I you know,
fag ends.
Just got absolutely
make a poem out of that.
Well,
yes, I know.
Off you go, Mary. I look forward to hearing it. But it is true, you know. And I get obsessed with things. You know, the fact that everybody leaves marks where they've been, and what are those marks, and what do they look like? So, you know, anything can send me off. You know, I'll be off on something. So I'm not quite sure what it'll be, and whether it comes out figurative or whether it comes out abstract. Or see, I don't know. I don't know where I'm going, Mary. But I'm good.
Oh. Well, I have this quote.
We're following you anyway, Hazel.
Hold on.
Sorry.
We're following you wherever you go, Hazel.
Oh, bless you.
I don't know if you can see this, Hazel. It's probably coming out backwards. But it's the quote I've got here from Picasso, and it says, if you know exactly what you are going to do, what is the point of doing it?
Yes, that's exactly right. That's exactly right.
You should put that on City of Culture.
Yeah, sitting rooms.
Yeah, sitting room of culture.
Yeah. Okay, I will do, Shada, and I'll dedicate it to you. Right.
Oh, it's fantastic.
We don't know where we're going, but we're keeping going. That's the thing, and that's the excitement about it. Because I mean, I'm caught between two stools because I love draftsmanship. So I love actually doing really, you know, good type draftsmanship. But you riff off, and that's the thing, when you riff off and you don't know where it's going to go and what it's going to look like. And that's the bit I love. And if it doesn't look like something, you know, I say, if it looks like one of mine, I'm disappointed. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Oh, I knew it was going to end up like that. You know, no, I don't want it to be like that. So still, it's all to fight for.
Did you ever make any mistakes when you were working in the shop on the signs? Did you ever make any mistakes and get the signs put up?
I can't really think. I mean, the danger is if you're doing sign, you know, a big sign, is that because you're so taken up with the lettering that you forget the spelling. So you have to be really careful on that. But I know. I mean, I do remember once just having done a thing about crackers, and it was so many a box, and somebody took the ticket off and put it on the back of a sailor was going through the shop in uniform, and he was not amused because it was actually, you know, what did he say? But it was, you know, dishonoring to the uniform. But somebody had put so many a box on there, which, you know, so it wasn't my fault. That was nothing to do with me.
Yeah. Right, we're drawing towards the ends of our time, so we got maybe chance for one or two more questions.
I might say, I haven't said anything so far. I'm sure Hazel won't mind me saying, but I'm her granddaughter, so I'm here because it's lovely to see, and because obviously you want to be supportive. But I've grown up going to her house and loving going to her house. It's been a massive part of my childhood, and there's always been her art all over the walls. It's ever changing, so that my grandpa was a decorator, so if they want to change a room, they change a room, and her art is always a part of it. And I've really loved growing up and sort of being amongst it all. So for me, I already know she's great, and I already have seen thousands of things that she probably has shown no one. So it's just lovely for other people to see, and it's lovely that she gets a bit of encouragement, because not that she needs it, but she, you know, in this kind of self-sabotage subject, it's so nice for other people to show how amazing she is as well. So this is like, I've just been sat here and it's lovely.
It encourages each other, doesn't it, to do things with the comments you get.
I think, you know, we're an arty family, and we always are. Well, I am, and my children are always inspired by the latest thing that Nanny Hazel's doing. She's always been the one to go for if there's a project that needs help with. And so we've always found her very inspiring. It's just now lovely that other people are doing so too. And obviously sitting rooms is a way of that happening.
Oh, thanks, Beck. And thanks, sitting rooms. I mean, we've got a lot. You must be thrilled to bits to see what you've drawn out of the, you know, community. Because I don't know about, I notice people's confidence growing. Don't you? You see it. You see the stuff that, and that they, you know, this said that you said about vulnerability, Mary. That the vulnerability is there, but yet people are getting braver and braver, and it's down to you guys. So thank you. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Carry on, we love your pictures.
Yes,
We love it, Hazel.
And don't forget your photographs of the flowers too, Shada. We like those.
I will, yeah. I'll take the flowers pictures that are growing now, so you'll see what are growing.
Yeah, you should do a time lapse of one
I
of
don't know how
them.
to do that.
Have a look at some of the lessons on sitting.
I was just going to say that. I was just going to say you'll learn on sitting rooms. There's always somebody. Thank you everybody.
Have a look at Dana.
Pleasure to meet you, Hazel. Real pleasure, and everybody else. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you, everybody.
Hazel.
Thanks.
Just-
Bye.
Just want to give a little plug out, if we can. We have Olivia Frank is going to be doing a dancing lesson tomorrow at 12 o'clock from his armchair, and he's going to be teaching us some funky moves. He's a lovely lad, lovely lad, and he's just going to be teaching us some dance moves. Warwickshire Open Studios start a video session thing tomorrow. And we've partnered up this week with Escape Arts, and they're going to be having some art packs made available for nurses and people that are lonely and isolated and things like that through Kirsty has took the lead on that. But no, we've got a lot coming up, and we've got some videos already up on YouTube that people can go and see. Hobbycraft have got a half price sale on at the moment on many a thing. If anybody wants to
sales.
Yeah, I'm not being paid to say that.
I was going to say,
Product placement.
Don't look at Heed by Hand.
But Hazel, I'd like to hand it back to you. If you could just give us the art is war quotation one more time, because I'm really sort of quite moved by that.
Well, I think, yeah, more power to the warriors. Art is a war between ourselves and the force of self-sabotage that would stop us from doing our work. The artist is a warrior. And while it is work, it's also play. Because that's the other thing. My granddaughter said, when they come, it's play. And don't let's ever lose the play.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, Hazel Price.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody, for joining. And we look forward to see, we'll have some discussions between ourselves, and we look forward to seeing you all again. God bless you.
Yes, thank you.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.